Warren had seen many strange things in his 43 years of farming in rural Nebraska, but nothing quite prepared him for what he found in his chicken coop that rainy April morning. The hens were making an unusual racket, their clucking more agitated than their typical dawn chorus. Warren grabbed his raincoat and trudged through the mud, expecting to find a fox or perhaps a raccoon that had gotten too bold. Instead, he found something that made him freeze in the doorway, his flashlight beam catching on iridescent skin and 4 enormous eyes that blinked in sequential pairs. "Please," the creature said in remarkably clear English, though her voice had a musical quality that no human throat could produce. "We mean no harm." Warren's hand instinctively went to the rifle he wasn't carrying. His heart hammered against his ribs as he took in the scene before him. The alien was roughly humanoid in shape, but stood nearly 7 feet tall, with elongated limbs and skin that shimmered between blue and violet in the dim light. She had positioned herself protectively in front of 3 smaller versions of herself, each no bigger than a human toddler, their large eyes filled with what Warren recognized universally as fear. "We just needed shelter from the rain," the alien mother continued, her voice trembling slightly. She gestured with a 3-fingered hand toward the storm raging outside. "My ship. It malfunctioned. We crashed in your field. The structure was intact but not weatherproof, and the children, they're sensitive to your rain. The chemical composition, it burns their skin." Warren noticed then the angry red welts on the smallest child's arm where rainwater must have touched it. The creature had wrapped her own body covering, something that looked like woven metal, around 2 of the children, leaving herself exposed. Maternal instinct, he realized, looked the same across the universe. "How long have you been here?" Warren asked, his voice coming out steadier than he felt. 3 of your hours," she replied. "Your birds were distressed at first, but we showed them we meant no harm. They settled. We were warm and dry. I planned to repair our ship at dawn and leave without anyone knowing. I'm sorry for the intrusion." Warren looked at the chickens. Indeed, they had calmed down, and several were actually roosting near the alien children, providing warmth. One hen had even nestled against the smallest child, who was stroking her feathers with surprising gentleness despite obvious pain from the welts. "Your government," the alien mother began, and Warren could hear the fear crystallizing in her voice. "We've monitored your broadcasts. We know what happens when our kind are discovered. The experiments, the detainment facilities, the fear. But my children were suffering and I had no choice." "A mother makes impossible choices." Warren stood silently for a long moment, rain drumming on the coop's tin roof. He thought about Eliza, his daughter who lived 3 states away now, working as a doctor in Chicago. He thought about the time she was 7, and he'd found her hiding in this very coop with a stray dog she'd found on the highway, knowing he'd said no more animals. She'd looked at him with those pleading eyes and said, "But Dad, she needed help." He'd kept the dog. Eliza named her Shelter. "The rain's supposed to let up in about an hour," Warren finally said. "Your ship, can it be repaired?" The alien mother's eyes widened in all 4 directions, a gesture of surprise. "Yes, it's a simple matter of replacing a burnout motivator. I have spares. 2 hours of work, perhaps less." Warren nodded slowly. "My barn is bigger, drier, and no one can see inside from the road. I've got tools. Might not be what you're used to, but I've fixed enough machinery to know sometimes you just need something to leverage or weld. I'll bring some ointment for the little one's burns. Works on my granddaughter's scrapes. Might work on alien skin too. You would help us?" The question came out barely above a whisper. "You're a mother protecting her children," Warren said simply. "That's not alien to me at all." Tears, or something like them, formed in the creature's lower set of eyes. "Thank you. You risk much for strangers." "Maybe," Warren acknowledged. "But Eliza, that's my daughter. She once told me that civilization isn't measured by how we treat the powerful, but by how we treat the vulnerable when no one's watching. I figure that applies whether you're from here or somewhere else." Warren helped them move to the barn, using tarps to shield the children from the rain. The alien mother, who eventually shared that her name was something like Shireen in human phonetics, worked with incredible speed and precision on her ship, a sleek thing no bigger than a minivan that had blended perfectly into the dark field. Warren provided tools, light, and coffee, which Shireen politely declined but seemed touched by the gesture. As the storm cleared and the first rays of sunlight broke through the clouds, the ship hummed to life. The children, burns now treated and covered, gathered around their mother. The smallest one ran back to Warren and pressed something into his hand, a small crystalline object that glowed faintly with inner light. "It's a memory stone," Shireen explained. "It holds the story of this night. Among my people we share them so our history isn't forgotten, so acts of kindness are remembered." She paused, all four eyes meeting his. "The galaxy speaks often of humanity's violence, your wars, your territoriality. But they don't speak enough of this. Your capacity for compassion toward strangers who hide in your chicken coops." Warren watched their ship rise silently into the dawn sky, disappearing in seconds. He stood there holding the memory stone, thinking about Eliza, about shelter from storms, and about how sometimes the universe tests whether you're the kind of person you hope you are. That evening, he called his daughter and told her he loved her. He didn't mention the visitors. Some stories were too big for phone calls. But he understood now what she'd been trying to teach him all those years ago, with that stray dog. Civilization, whether human or alien, came down to simple choices made in chicken coops during rainstorms. And on that April morning, Warren chose kindness. The chickens, for their part, laid extra eggs for a week as if they approved.